Look, if you spend any time obsessing over how to take your basketball game to the next level, there's going to be a few harsh truths that you have to come to terms with. It doesn't matter if the next level for you is making a pro roster, a college roster, or simply just climbing up the ladder on the current team that you're on. Just lock in with me for a few minutes, and I promise I can save you a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Night Out Basketball. I'm Coach Eddie, former player, current trainer, and coach. I've had the pleasure of working with athletes from the beginner level all the way up to the professional level. I don't want to waste your time. I just have 4 super simple things that you need to understand if you're trying to get to that next level. The first one is super important because if you don't have it, none of the rest of them on the list even matter. Truth number 1, you eat what you kill, so you have to stay hungry. One of the big things that I've noticed about those players that make those big leaps and the ones who don't is just that level of hunger, that sheer pain of being in the position that they're in right now, and they're just super hungry to get to that next level. And just so you understand what I mean by hungry, let's just say you have 2 people ahead of you. You get a little bit of minutes, but not very many. Every practice, if you're not fully attacking those 2 players that are ahead of you, whether that be you guarding them every time there's a defensive set, you attacking them every time you get on offense trying to make a play, your teammates are your friends, they're your brothers, they're your sisters, you grew up together, all this stuff, that's cool. But on the court, they are your competition. If you want more minutes, the only way you can get them is if you take them from the people in front of you. If your hunger to be great at your craft is not more than your craving and hunger to go hang out with friends, go to parties, go to events, if your hunger for those things are higher than your hunger to succeed, you probably won't. You have to be willing to make some sacrifices for what you want. That goes for basketball, business, life, and anything else. Truth number 2, competition is fierce. How are you going to stand out? Every time I open my phone and look at Instagram, I see some player I've never heard of from a town or city I've never heard of who's averaging 25 and 10. So if you have high hopes of going to play Division I basketball, every single player is looking for those same spots. There's only so many Division I basketball teams out there. The tough balance is having really high expectations for yourself, but also understanding the reality of every situation that you might be in. There are some extremely high level Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO, NCCAA. There's a lot of leagues on the college level, and there are a lot more opportunities to go play college ball than just Division I. If I open my Google right now and I go look at the top 30 players from every single state, if your name is not on that list, your chances of making a Division I roster aren't impossible, but they're extremely low. Truth number 3, nobody knows you and nobody cares. The story I always like to tell is about Kyrie Irving. He's one of the best point guards in NBA history, in my opinion, and he was an absolute beast in high school. And Kyrie Irving was not ranked or recruited until his senior year. And honestly, his recruitment was actually pretty lucky. Someone that was in one of those high-level camps actually got sick, and then Kyrie was one of the players who ended up being invited in place of that player. He showed out at that camp and then ended up being recruited by tons of teams. Obviously went on to Duke in the NBA, and you know the story. But there's a lot of you that aren't going to get looks like that. You may not ever get recruited, even if you're really good. You may hold all kinds of records at your school and nobody may have ever heard about you. So I say all this to say, in this day and age, you have to be your own representative. You have to be your own agent. You cannot wait for college coaches to come find you. Same thing goes for those players looking to go pro. There are combines that happen all over the world at all times. There are multiple different agencies that you can go through that'll actually get you set up to go play in overseas tournaments that are essentially set up for overseas coaches to scout you and see how you play in those situations. Just like the kids looking to get in college, there's only limited roster spots. Keep your options open and explore every one of them that you can. Truth number 4, you don't have time. Your time is now. This is important whether you're a player in middle school or junior high and you just have that overall goal and dream to play college or pro one day. Or if you're in high school and you're going to graduate soon, or you're in college and you're going to graduate soon, or you're just a player working a 9-to-5, chasing the dream, and you want to go play overseas or play pro somewhere. You don't have time. I don't say that to scare you. I don't say that to make you feel bad. I say that to light a fire under you and get you some sense of urgency. The worst advice I received as a teenager when I was thinking about what I wanted to do in college, whether that be a major or which school I wanted to go to, the worst advice I got was, "Oh, Eddie, you have time. You have time to figure it out. Don't worry." That was terrible advice. Plan while you're young and have the time. I knew I wanted to play in college ever since I touched the basketball and ever since I saw the Arkansas Razorbacks play a game on TV. I knew I wanted to play college basketball. So if I was in middle school today, what I would be doing is I would just be trying to find 7 options of like a dream school, not a realistic school, not none of that, just pure dreams at this point. I would find 7 to 10 dream schools that it would just be a dream for me to play at. And I would write those down and I would keep them on my wall. In this point, I would be looking at those teams play every time a game was on TV. And if I was in high school, I would narrow that down to 5 or 6 dream schools, of course, but then I would add more realistic schools. Any college in a 5 to 6 hour radius away from me, I would have an eye on. I would not care what division they were. I don't care about any of that. I would just make note of all of them, and I would try to find out when every single one of them had a tryout. I would be extremely proactive rather than just waiting for things to come to me. This is what you really want. If going to play college ball is what you really want, you gotta have that drive and you gotta stay hungry and you have to make some sacrifices to get that goal. Number 2, you have to realize your competition is everywhere. They're on your team, they're on the teams in your conference, your city, your region, your state. They're all around you, and you have to do everything that you can to stand out for your coach as well as any other coach that may be watching you play or practice. 3, do not wait on coaches to come find you. You have to be proactive. Is this what you actually want? And 4, you don't have time, so do not act like it. We all only have a limited amount of time where our bodies can take the sheer beating of running and jumping and landing like we do when we play this game of basketball. Be proactive and don't let that time pass you by. And if you want some help along the way of that journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel below. Anyways, it's Coach Eddie. This is Night Owl Basketball, and I'm out.